Alrighty, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Alright, we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on more game logic in SDL3 using C++. That said, I have been going over game logics for like the past, I think, 6 stream. That said, today maybe I'm actually going to be going over collision logic because I haven't been doing that. Okay, so let's go to my gameplay screen. Okay, and guys, this is the chat from last stream because I did not have time to like change the chat. So let's say something like, let's say, I'm live again! Exclamation! Alright, guys, there we go. Okay, and today I want to go over collision logic! Exclamation! Okay, let's see. People, you dare to go live again without finishing your training? Good, that's the kind of reckless energy that makes a game dev fun. Come here, Sensei Sarah is cracking your knuckles. Let's do some collision logic. Get ready because this is where games go from cute moving PNG to actual world with rules. Firstly, listen closely. Collision logic is basically teaching your game world to say no. Your mage tries to walk into a wall. The world says no. Stop right there, wizard boy. Okay, well, build that power today. To start simple, we use AABB collision, axis aligned bounding box collision. That means rectangles don't rotate. SDL loves those two rectangles touch if A's right is greater than B's left, or A's left is less than B's right. A's bottom is greater than B's top. A's top is less than B's bottom. All four are true collision, okay? But before I let you write anything, we start with broken code. Okay, honestly, I don't want broken code. Maybe I do want to, let's say something like work with shape collision before I actually start working with PNG collision. Let's say that. Let's say something like, let's say maybe I want to work with shape collision instead of PNG collision. So do you want me to write a code where I have a shape? Then we can work with collision question mark. Okay, I think I'll actually write a code with shape first. Okay, Java. Honestly, I haven't like started Java yet. That's it. I might start Java soon. That's it, people. Good, finally back on stream and not wasting time. So yes, write the code. Okay, so let's go ahead and write the code. That's it. This is the code from last stream because I didn't have time to like work on these codes off stream. So firstly, let's go with controller. Let me delete everything now. Let me firstly start off by including a pair of ankle braces. Let's say I want to include IO stream. And then since I am using SDL3, I'm going to be including, let's say something like, oh guys, there we go. Okay, let's say I want to include SDL3 and also SDL3 header files. Okay, perfect. Now after I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and create a main function because I honestly might not need classes here. Okay, my main function is going to be consisting of two parameters. The first parameter is going to be an integer of argc. The second parameter is going to be a character, which is a pointer of argv. Okay, actually, which is a pointer to an array of argv. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to use a if statement to initialize my SDL and also check if my SDL was not initialized properly. So I'll go with something like if not SDL underscore init. If my SDL was not initialized properly, I do require a flag for my this function. I'll go with the video section of my SDL. So if SDL underscore init underscore video. Okay, did I spell it wrong? Oh, I spelled video wrong. There we go. Okay, so if my SDL's video section was not initialized properly, firstly, I'm gonna display a error message. So I'll go with standard C error with an insertion operator. Let's say that I got something like a SDL underscore init error. Okay, so honestly, the reason I did like go with SDL underscore init error because this is like the function name. Bro, when we start Java, honestly, once I'm like done with my maybe programming for 250 series, I might have a series where I do make a website. That's when I actually might try Java. Okay, and then let's go with another insertion operator and use the function that actually gets me an error. So I'll go with SDL underscore the gets error function with a pair of parentheses. Okay, and then let's go with another insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, maybe my errors R needs to be lowercase. There we go. Okay, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to just go ahead and return one saying something went wrong in this block of code. Okay, perfect. Now that I've done initializing my SDL, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like game variables. So I'll go with something like game variables. Now, for my game variables, firstly, let's go ahead and create two basic game variables. website, you mean backend or website with Java, isn't it? Honestly, I actually don't know much because like I haven't like started Java. That's what I did like hear people say that people do use Java to like actually make websites type stuff. How old are you? Honestly, I am like 17. That's it. I might turn 18 really soon, guys. My birthday is the January 5th. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go with something like a constant integer of width. This is going to be my Windows width. I'm gonna set that equal to 1000, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with another constant integer variable for something like height. This is going to be my Windows' height. I'm not asking about JavaScript, I'm asking about Java. Honestly, I might actually look into that because like, whatchamacallit, in case I did need that to like make my current game with AI logic, and I might actually learn it. If I didn't, then maybe after the series I might try that. Okay, that said, once I'm done creating my game variables, I might actually add speeds as well. So I might go with something like a floating point for x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to, I don't know, maybe something like 5 pixels per frame, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go with something like a floating point for y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to 5 pixels per frame as well. And I won't be adding gravity here because I do want to just learn the basic collision logic. Okay, once I'm done with my game variables, I'm gonna add another comment that says something like create window. Okay, I'm gonna be creating my window and my renderer both at the same time. To do that, I'm gonna be needing two local variables. So I might create a local variable for my window first. So I'll use the SDL underscore windows structure that consists of all my windows attributes. I'm gonna have a Windows pointer to it, which is initially gonna be set to null PDR. That is basically a placeholder for pointers. I'm gonna do the same thing for my renderer. I'll go with SDL underscore renderer with an asterisk to a renderer's pointer. There we go, which is gonna be set to null PDR as well, ending with a semicolon. Now let's use the function that actually creates both my window and renderer at the same time. To do that, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and use the SDL underscore create a window and renderer function. This function creates both my window and my renderer at the same time, although it does require a few parameters. Okay bro, that's JavaScript. It's used to make websites. Java is a backend language which you can connect web pages, databases with different APIs, while JavaScript is act as both front-end and backend. Oh, I see. In that case, I might actually look into it. Okay, that said, I'm going to be needing a title / a caption for my window. I could go with something like SDL3 window created. Okay, and then I'm going to add a comma. Now I'm going to be needing a width and height for my window. I could use the width variable that I created and the height variable that I created. And then I'm going to be needing a flag. If you guys don't want to add a flag, you guys could go with 0. But I want to add a flag that makes my window resizable. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore window underscore resizable flag. This flag makes my window resizable. And then the last two parameters is going to be the memory address for my window local variable and my renderer local variable. So I'll go with the address of operator window and address of operator renderer. Okay, perfect. That's like pretty much it for creating my window and renderer. Now that I've done created my window and renderer, apparently in C++ you gotta check if they were not created properly. So I'm gonna add a if statement to check if my window or renderer was not created properly. To do that, I'll go with something like if not window, if my window was not created properly, or if not renderer, if my renderer was not created properly, I'm gonna do something. Please go for Java next. It will help me learn from you. Honestly, I might actually look into it because like I did want to learn Java as well. It sounds kind of cool. Okay, that's it. Now, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and give me a error text if my if either my window or renderer was not created properly. So I'll go with a standard C error with an insertion operator. That is gonna give me, let's say, something like a huge error. So I'll say an SDL underscore create window and renderer error. There we go, guys. This is basically just the function name. I type the function name and I just say error so I know which function got an error. Then let's go with another insertion operator that actually, after adding the insertion operator, I'm going to be using the function that actually gets me an error. So I'll go with something like a standard get error or SDL underscore get error function. This function gets me an error. Then I'll go with something like a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Now, if my window or renderer was not created properly, I do want to quit my SDL. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL underscore quit function, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'm going to return 1 saying something went wrong in this block of code. Okay, that's actually pretty much it for my creating my window and renderer and also checking if they were not created properly. Next up, I'm gonna add a comment here that says something like, I don't know, since I am going to be adding a collision logic for my rectangle, I might go with something like rectangle properties. There we go. Okay, dim green. Guys, I feel like I can read that. Okay, that's it. For my rectangle properties, did I spell properties correct? There we go. For my rectangle properties, firstly, I'm gonna use the SDL underscore frex structure. This is basically SDL underscore floating point rectangle. This consists of all my rectangles as attributes. I'm gonna set that equal to a rex's local variable. Then I'm gonna end it with a semicolon. Now I'm gonna fill in a few parameters. So let's say something like my rectangles' x-axis is gonna be, I don't know, maybe something like 500 pixels per frame, the center of my screen, and then I'm gonna go with something like rec.y-axis, which is gonna be something like maybe 400, which is at the center of my screen as well, and then I'm gonna end it with a semicolon. Then let's go with rect.width, which is going to be something like 50, ending with a semicolon. And then rect.height, which is going to be equal to 50 as well, ending with a semicolon. Okay, after I'm done creating my rectangles properties, I'm going to add another comment that says something like main loop. So this is going to be my actual main loop where my rectangle is going to be and where my game's actual content is going to be added. So for my main loop, I might need a few boolean variables. Firstly, I'll need a boolean variable for is running, which is initially going to be set to true because when I do run my code, I want my program to be running. Ask ChatGPT about Java along with that ask about web development, what you need for web development. Honestly, when I do have these series for like actually where I would actually need Java, I might actually try it because like many of you guys did say me to try Java/JavaScript, so I do want to actually go over those things. Okay, that's it. I'm going to be creating an event variable, so I'm going to use the SDL underscore events structure. That is going to be having an event variable. This SDL underscore events structure consists of all the SDL events. Okay, and I might even add a few key controls here. So I'm going to add a few boolean variables to check if some of my buttons are being pushed. So I might go with something like A down, which is initially going to be set to false because my A is currently not being pushed down. I'm gonna add a comma. I'll go with something like D down, which is set to false as well because my D is not being pushed down. Then I'm gonna go with something like W down, which is going to be set to false as well because my W is not being pushed down. I think you should try Java first. Honestly, I might actually try Java first. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna go with something like S down, which is going to be which is going to be set to false as well because my S is not being pushed down. Once I'm done with that, let's go ahead and create our main while loop. So I'm gonna go with something like while, a pair of parentheses. Let's see something like while is running, while my program is running, or while my is running is set to true, I'm gonna do something. And guys, just so you guys know, like many of you guys did say me to like stream horizontally as well because you guys do want to see my entire screen. And I did like actually start streaming horizontally. So if you guys do want to actually code with me and see my whole entire screen, you guys could like hop onto the horizontals as well. That said, next up, under my while loop, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like event loop. This is gonna be the place where I'm gonna be looking for all my event types and everything. So I'm gonna add another while loop that is in charge for looking the current event types. Although my event loop does require, my events' while loop does require a function as a parameter. It requires the SDL underscore poll events function. This function basically checks the current type of event that I'm actually looking for inside of my while loop. If any of the events inside of my while loop is actually an event that meets this event type, it's gonna do what I say it to do. Although my SDL underscore poll events function does require, let's say, the memory address of my event variable. Okay, once I'm done with my event loop, I'm gonna add an event type. So I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's see something like if my event type equals to SDL underscore event underscore quit. So if my event type is quit, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna be setting my is running boolean variable to be false, ending with a semicolon. So if my user did click the top right X button, then that's gonna end my entire while loop here, and that ends my program. Okay, once I'm done with that, I actually might add a few more event checks. So I'm gonna go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my event type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. Basically, excuse me guys, basically this event type, it like looks if my key is currently being pushed down or like held downwards, because like if any of these keys are held down, I'm gonna set it to be true, else I'm gonna set them to be false. So to do that, honestly, you guys could like go with another if statement, sure, but I might go with something like switches, because like I think that looks kind of cool. Okay, so if my event type is down, if any of my buttons are being pushed down, I'm gonna look which button is actually being pushed down. So I'll go with something like event.key.key. This check looks for my current key that's being pushed down, and then I'm gonna do something if a certain type of key is being pushed down. Let's say if my for my first case, I'm gonna go with case. If my SDL's key is something like A, if my A is currently being pushed down, I'm gonna be setting my a down boolean variable to be equal to true, ending with a semicolon, and then I'm gonna break. And then I'm gonna add another case to check if my SDL's key that's being pushed down is something like D. If my D is being pushed down, I'm gonna set my D down boolean variable to be true, ending with a semicolon, then I'm gonna break again. For my fourth case, I'm gonna look if my W key is being pushed down. So if my SDL's key is W, then I'm going to be setting my W down to be true, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to break as well. And lastly, for my final case, hi bro, hiding pixels, I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. For my final case, I'm going to see if my SDL's key is, let's say something like, I went with W. Let's say if my key is S, so if my S is currently being pushed down, I'm going to set my S down boolean variable to be true, and then I'm going to go ahead and break. And that's actually pretty much it for my key push down button. So just to save time, I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, and then let's paste it again here. This time I'm gonna look if my key type is up. So I'm just gonna change this down to up, and if any of these keys are being pushed upwards, means it's not being pushed down anymore, I'm gonna set them to be false. So I'm gonna just change all these trues to be falses. There we go, and that would be like basically pretty much it for my event types. Okay, and that's like pretty much it for my event types. Now I added my if statement, I added my switches, I added my cases. Now I'm gonna go ahead and exit outside of my event loop. All the way there to... Okay, maybe does it end here? I think it ends here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and exit outside of my event loop. And now once I'm outside, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like key controls, because I do want to do something if all my keys are set to true / if they're set to false. For example, I could go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say if my A down is set to true, then I'm going to do something. If my user is currently pushing my A down, firstly, I'm going to be changing my rectangle's x-axis, let's say to be decreased by my x-axis underscore velocity, which is technically 5 pixels per frame, ending with a semicolon. Bro, could you run it? I just want to see how it works. Honestly, I haven't been like done with it because I didn't add my graphics or anything, because I'm just working on my logic just yet, but I might be done soon. Okay, that said, I'm going to add another if statement. So I'm going to go with if a pair of parentheses. Let's say if my D is currently being pushed down, then I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces and increase my rectangle's x-axis by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with another if statement that checks if my W is being pushed down, then I want to go upwards. So I'm going to be decreasing my Rex's x-axis by my y-axis underscore velocity. What up guys, this is going to be y-axis. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And lastly, I'm going to check if my S is currently being pushed down. If it is, then I'm going to be increasing my rectangle's y-axis by my y-axis underscore velocity. And then I'm going to end it with a semicolon. Okay, and that's pretty much it for like all my key controls. So next up, I'm going to go with another comment that says something like fill screen. Now I'm going to be filling my screen with a color. I want to fill it with like cyan color. So first, I do got to set a color for my render. To do that, I could use the SDL underscore the set render draw color function. This function actually sets a color to my render. It seems like you're trying to make some sort of game. Honestly, I am like working on game logic, because today I do want to work on the collision logic. Last stream I did work on clamping and like not letting my PNG exit the window. Rather today I attempt to do AI code. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, that's it. For my SDL underscore set render draw color, I am going to be requiring a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be my render's parameter. the second, third, and fourth parameter is going to be an RGB value. Since I do want to go with cyan, I'm going to add 0, 248, and 255 as my RGB. Lastly, my fifth parameter is going to be an alpha / opacity, how transparent or how not transparent I want my color to be. In this case, I set it to be 255 because I don't want my color to be transparent at all. Okay, once I'm done setting a color to my render, now let's use the function that actually fills my entire screen. So I'll use the render clear function. So I'm saying my render to clear my entire screen. Okay, clearing the screen is basically the same as filling my entire screen with the color of my render. Okay, perfect. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and add graphics. Graphics is going to be where all my drawings and everything is going to be added. So for my graphics, firstly, I'm gonna go ahead and change my color of the render because I do want my rectangle to be a different color from my screen, or like, because if my rectangle is cyan as well, then my rect won't be seen. To do that, firstly, I might do something like SDL underscore the set render draw color function. So I'm gonna set my renderer to draw a color with a pair of parentheses. Now I'm gonna change the color inside. Honestly, I might want my rectangle to be red color, so I'll go with 23500 and my alpha 235. Okay, so this is like a red color which is not transparent at all. And then let's use the function that actually colors my rectangle. So I might go with SDL underscore render. So I'm saying my renderer to fill my rect. So render fill rect. Hi, what's going on? How are you doing? Soime Deep, is that your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. Today I am like working on collision detection logic in like SDL3 using C++. Before I do move on to pixel perfect collision using PNG, I do want to learn on how to add collision with like regular objects. I'm creating those objects. Go for 45, 67, 88. Okay, your thumbnail's so good. I good to it, guys. Good to it is actually crazy. Okay, that said, should I change that like for my rects? I'll go with something like 45, 67. There we go. And lastly, 88. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that to 88. Okay, I've honestly never heard of this RGB. What color is this? Okay, next up, for my render for rect, I might go with something like, firstly, my render parameter. And then I'm gonna go with something like the memory address of my rects. And then ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with my graphics, bro, I'm trying to build app. Do you wanna join us? Honestly, I feel like I am kind of busy because I do have like all the stuff and everything, and plus I do stream now and do some of my YouTube stuff as well, so I might not have much time right now. It says 6-7. Honestly, I haven't like heard of it. Please just call me SD, it's fine. Honestly, okay, I think that makes it much easier. Okay, once I'm done with graphics, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like present. So I'm gonna be presenting my renderer on my screen as well, because if I don't present it, then it's not gonna be seen. To present my renderer, I might go with something like SDL underscore render present something. My renderer to present itself. Okay, this does require a parameter of my renderer though. There we go. Okay, perfect. And then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And lastly, since I do want to move my object around as well, and there is animation, I might add FPS. To add FPS, I might use the SDL underscore delay function that does require a parameter in milliseconds. I'll go with 16 milliseconds, which is technically 60 frames per second. Now, once I'm done with all that, I'm going to go ahead and exit outside of my initial main loop and then do something like if you clean up. So I'm going to go with something like cleanup. Now, for my cleanup, firstly, I want to destroy my window. So I'll go with the SDL underscore destroy window function, which does require a parameter of my window. What are you studying? IT? Honestly, I think this is considered IT. Okay, this is going to be something like a window parameter. Okay, brother, I'm also making an app that actually sounds really cool. Like, you should keep me updated on how the app's going. That's how I'll go with something like SDL underscore destroy renderer, because I'm going to be destroying my renderer as well. Okay, which does require a parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to be quitting my SDL, so I'll go with SDL underscore quit with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. And lastly, return 0. Okay, perfect. It's like a bluish color. Oh, I see. It looks good. I see. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm waiting for my windows to pop up. So I got my first terminal here. Waiting for my second terminal. Okay, and here's my second terminal. Okay, so it's like a grayish color. So I have a second terminal that does move using my key controls, although now I want to add like another object and then work on my collision logic. Okay, so I might actually cancel that part. Hey, hello, how are you doing, Dark? Or how are you doing, Dark? I think that's how you pronounce your name, Dark Sharon. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, what do you do and where are you from? Honestly, I am like trying to master SDL3 C++ because I might need this for my programming for 250 series, because my goal by the end of that series is to make a game in general that consists of AI logic in it. Bro, your name is Vivek? Honestly, yeah. Okay, you train model or use API? Honestly, I haven't like started that yet. That said, I'm going to be creating another rect now, so I might go with something like, so let's say SDL underscore FREX structure again. This is going to be called something like enemy rect. Okay, and then I'm going to end that with a semicolon. I'll go with something like enemy rect.x-axis is going to be equal to something like 700 ending with a semicolon. Did I spell my enemy rect correct? I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to go with something like, I think I spelled it here wrong. So enemy rect. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that, and I'm going to paste it here. Enemy rect.y-axis is going to be equal to something like 567, so 456. I'll go with something like 400 ending with a semicolon, and then I'm going to go with my enemy rect dot, let's see, something like width, which is going to be something like 100 ending with a semicolon. Lastly, enemy rect.height is going to be equal to 100 as well, ending with a semicolon. Okay, I understand you speak Hindi. Honestly, I do speak a bit, but I'm not as fluent in it. That's true, because many of you guys did send me to like commentate in like Hindi, but I'm like, I wouldn't be able to like convey or like express what I'm trying to actually learn here, because like I'm not as fluent in it. Okay, what language is it? Honestly, it is C++. Okay, that's once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go all the way under my renderer, and then let's go ahead and add another color for my render. So I'll go with SDL underscore set render draw color function. There we go. So I'm going to go with the prof curly braces. Now my enemy rect is going to be red, so I'll go with something like 25500 and 255, and then ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and use the function that actually colors my rect. So I'm going to use the SDL underscore render. I'm saying my render to fill my rect, so render fill rect. With a pair of parentheses, that does require a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be my render. The second parameter is going to be the memory address. Guys, there we go. Okay, the memory address of my enemy rect. So I'm going to use the address of operator. Okay, and then end it with a semicolon. Now, if I were to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so I get my first window pop up here. Okay, and my second window here. There we go. Okay, try saying my name. Kimmy. I think it's Kimmy, like Kimmy Jomigan. Is that how you pronounce her name? Okay, chatness, can you add sprinting to your cube? Honestly, I should actually add sprinting, but I think whatchamacallit, I'm not like working on sprinting this stream, because like it would be kind of easy, because I might actually add like a different kind of button. Like if I'm pressing like control and then running, I might actually go in like, I think like 8 pixels per frame or something like that. That's it. I might actually try that in a bit, but for now I do want to like work on collision logic. So I'm gonna now go ahead and copy this, because I didn't know how to do this part. Now I don't know the collision logic part, so I might actually learn on how to add the collision logic. Let's do something like, let's say I added a red circle. Actually, I added a red and a gray cube. Gray being my player and red being a static cube. Although I don't know how to add collisions, so can you teach me, question mark? Okay. Bro, cyan background doesn't look good. Use 60, 20, 10. It look good. Honestly, the reason I do use cyan is because I did like try replicating like a cyan sky, because eventually I do want to add like a floor as well. I did do those last streams. Okay, which country are you in? Honestly, I used to answer a lot, but many of you guys did say me to avoid saying that, so I did start avoid saying that. Honestly, brother, I'm doing a chatbot that actually sounds kind of cool. We meet again, hiding OJH. I appreciate you joining the stream. He's from Canada, guys, close enough. That's it, people. Good. You actually wrote clean code today. Your viewers witnessed a miracle. Come here. Blah blah. Okay, now listen carefully, because this is the foundation of all collision in 2D games. So no sprites, no magic, just math. I'll teach collision like he sensei drag you by the ear. So the essence of collision. For two rectangles to collide, four things must be true. Your gray player rectangle, your red enemy rectangle. Okay, they will collide when rect.x-axis is less than my enemy's x-axis plus my enemy rex's width. Okay, and then rect.x-axis plus my rect.width is greater than my enemy rex's x-axis, and then rect.y-axis, which is less than my enemy rect.y-axis plus my enemy rect.height, and then rect.y-axis plus rect.height, which is greater than my enemy rect.y-axis. If all four are true at the same time, collision logic, this method is called AABB collision, axis aligned bounding box, fancy word for simple logic. Okay, right after you move the player under key controls, boolean is colliding equals if is colliding standard console output. Okay, in that case, this shouldn't be that tough. Use RGB 104 60 207 for background. I could actually try that. Okay, so for fill screen, I'll go with 104 60. Let's go with something like 60 and 207. Okay, for Telegram platforms as chatbots, are you made any platforms for your bot? Honestly, I haven't worked on any kind of chatbot yet, but I am soon going to try that as soon as I'm done with my C++ for 100 series. Okay, I feel like this does look kind of weird now, because this looks like a whole dark green. It looks like kind of really bright. I might actually change this back. There we go. Okay, now once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And let's see if I remember my collision logic correctly, because collision with square should be much easy, but once I'm done adding collision with square, I might actually try pixel perfect collision. So let's go with something like collision logic. There we go. Okay, for my collision logic, I'm gonna go ahead and create a boolean is colliding variable. There we go, which is going to be equal to, okay, let's see, I'm gonna set it equal to something like if my rect dot x-axis is either less than, let's go with something like my enemy rect, so I'm gonna go with something like enemy rect dot x-axis plus my enemy rect dot width, ending with a semicolon. Actually, do I need to add a comma? Maybe I'll go ahead and end it with a semicolon. Try 192, 255, 60. Honestly, I might actually try that. Hold up, give me a sec though. Let me actually check. Is there a comma when I do those things? Okay, it needs to be and. So I might go with something like and then let's go with something like if my rect dot x-axis plus my rect dot width is either, let's say something like greater than my enemy rect dot x-axis. Okay, and then I'm going to go with another and let's go with something like my rect dot y-axis if that is less than my enemy rect dot y-axis plus my enemy rect dot height. So I'm going to go with enemy rect dot height. And lastly, I'll go with another and if my rect dot y-axis plus my rect dot height is greater than, let's say my enemy rect dot height, ending with a semicolon. So if these conditions are met, then my collision is currently happening. And then I'm gonna go with something like a pair of parentheses. Let's say if it's colliding, if I'm currently colliding, then I'm gonna be doing something. I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces and then add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm gonna say something like collision exclamation. Excuse me guys, it's just math moving. If both of them come together, that actually does make sense. I guess half of the viewers are Indian. Honestly, yeah, I think about 37% of you guys are Indians. Okay, make the enemy rect rainbow colored. Oh, I actually want to do that. There's a way to actually do that using the render geometry. I might actually try that. Okay, that's it. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my first window pop up. I'm pretty sure I do. I might have to even get my terminal here so you guys can actually see what happens. Okay, so every time I touch my rect, okay, it says something like collision. Okay, it does spam collision though. I don't want it to spam collision. What up guys? There we go. Maybe I get that a bit lower. Okay, maybe one collision per hit. Okay, I mean, there are a lot of collisions. I want like one collision per hit. I remember doing that in like Python. Maybe I might need a function for that. Okay, that's it. I might actually try that when I'm actually working with the pixel perfect collision. So I could go with something like a control C. Alright guys, let's go with control V, control A, control C, copy that. Let's get some /ChatGPT here. Let's go ahead and paste. Let's go with shift enter and say something like, let's say I see ... That said, I actually wanna try pixel perfect collision now with PNGs. Is that possible in SDL3 question mark? Oh, you want bluish background? Try 83, 192, 237. Okay, you sound gay. Honestly, guys, I'm actually not gay. People, you did good almost, but you made a mistake, and your sensei's win is popping out. You wrote reg.y-axis plus reg.height is greater than. That line is wrong. You compare your players' bottom to the enemy's heights. It had to be y-axis. So wait, if I try y-axis, would that make a difference? Okay, because I feel like my collision logic did work. If I were to hit control to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Now, if I hit my user, okay, it does work. So I mean, I still get my collisions and all that stuff. Okay, that's it. I want to try it like with actual PNGs right now. Fix that later, but you asked something more. You asked something far dangerous now. Pixel perfect collision SDL3. People, are you trying to summon demons already? Pixel perfect collision is possible in SDL3, but is much harder than box collisions. Game devs only use it when their sprites have weird shapes. They need accuracy. Platformers like Hollow Knight, they're okay stuffing emotionally. SDL does not give you pixel perfect collision out of the box. You have to build it yourself, and since you're live, your viewers enjoy or play and how pixel perfect collision works. Okay, you don't shake your bamboo at night. Honestly, I don't actually have a bamboo. That said, you must get the textures' pixel data RGBA info, convert texture to a surface to create a surface when loading, check overlap region between the two sprites, compare pixel alpha values. If both pixels are not transparent, a collision did happen. If the alpha channel is greater than 0, it's a solid pixel. But user RGB, it'll look good. Honestly, I might actually use it when I like try adding the my PNGs, because I'm going to be deleting it again. Okay, surplus, surplus, inks, surfing. Okay, that said, SDL3 method overview, working theory. Here's how you normally prepare your PNGs. So I gotta create a surface. So this is the SDL underscore surfaces structure. Okay, surf image load. I load my player's image, and then SDL underscore texture. This is my textures function, which is equal to SDL underscore create texture from surface. Okay, this might be a bit tricky. Then you lock the texture or the surface to get the pixel data. What time is it there? Honestly, it's almost 3 p.m. right now. SDL underscore lock surface with a parameter of surface. Use surf pixels to get pixel data. SDL underscore unlock surface. Then collision checks. Hold up, guys. Uint 8 alpha 1. I haven't like heard of the uint alphas. Okay, let me say something like, let's say maybe can I load 2 PNGs first, and then we can move on from there, question mark, because I feel this might be a bit tricky. Wipe coding is awesome. Honestly, it does make sense. I feel like it's like really helpful to like learn using AIs, because they do like teach a lot. Okay, Bamboo guy tricked you. Guys tricked me. It's kind of crazy. Don't speak this type of image for Indians, dude. Don't spread this type of image. Okay, what's your qualification in coding? Honestly, I don't think I have like an actual qualification, because like I did like just learn coding on my own without like I didn't like take any course or anything. That's at the high end, and only just saves you the world is passing away for eternity. That does make sense, guys. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and delete this. This time I do want to load a PNG, so let's go with something like include prof anchor braces. Let's say I want to include IO stream, and then I'm going to be including SDL3 as well, because I'm going to be using SDL3, and then the header files. Now, since I want to load my PNGs as well, or images in general, I'm going to go ahead and include SDL3 underscore image slash SDL underscore image.h, which is SDL3's image library and SDL3's image library's header files. Once I'm done with that, let's go ahead and create a main function. Okay, here's the thing, guys. Before I create a main function, I want to actually create classes. I won't be creating a physics body class because I don't want to add like jump strength and like gravity just yet. That said, I do want to add, let's say, something like a mage class. So I'm going to go ahead and create a mage class. Now, my mage class is going to be, let's say, having a private data member. So I might go with something like private. So there we go. Okay. Did I spell private wrong? There we go. Okay, I'm going to be having a private data member of my SDL's texture. This is going to be called something like my mage image, ending with a semicolon. Then let's go ahead and publicize everything. Nice, keep it up. Honestly, I appreciate you, real. Bro, spam in chat. Honestly, actually, guys, don't spam in chat. Because, like, if you guys do actually spam, I do, like, mute for a bit. That said, next up, once I'm done actually publicizing everything, I might add a comment that says something like constructor. So I'm going to be creating my constructor here. So let's go ahead and create my mage's constructor. Now, what are parameters would my constructor require? Maybe I might require a renderer. So I might go with something like SDL underscore renderers structure, which is going to be having a renderers parameter. Excuse me, guys. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a comment. Did I spell it correct? Okay, and once I'm done with render, I might actually want a scale as well. So I might go with something like a floating point of scale because I want my user to be able to like scale my PNG correctly because I don't want like a really big image on the screen. Okay, once I'm done with that, let's go ahead and actually, let's say, I don't gotta like add a few instance variables. So I might go ahead and create a SDL's, let's say, maybe I load my file path. So I might go with something like my mage images structure, which is going to be equal to my image underscore, let's say something like the get texture function. I might go with something like get texture. Actually, was it load texture? I think it was image underscore load texture. So I'll go with something like the load textures as function. That does require two parameters. The first parameter is going to be a renderer. I think everyone, I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it, hold up guys, I just realized how dehydrated my lips were. Let me actually hydrate them a bit. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, perfect. So, first is going to be my renderer. Second is going to be the file path. Where is my file actually located? My file is located in my assets folder, and my file is called something like mage.png, ending my function with a semicolon. Okay, once I'm done actually loading my image, I'm going to be, let's say, creating a rect, because my image is technically going to be compressed inside of a rectangle. I'm Indian Aries. Oh, I see, that actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, that said, actually, I do want to, like, learn how to read Hindi, because, like, I feel like I can talk a bit, but I'm not like, as fluent in it, but I cannot read at all, guys. I feel like I want to learn different languages. Okay, college. Honestly, I am, like, a freshman in college. That's it. I might go with something like SDL underscore the FREX's structure, which is going to be having, let's say, something like a mage rex's local variable, ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm going to be adding a few parameters here. So, I might go with something like mage rex dot x-axis is going to be equal to, let's go with something like, I don't know, I want my mage to be in the center, so I'll go with something like 400. Maybe 500, and then I'm going to end that with a semicolon, and then I'll go with something like magestrike.y-axis, which is going to be 400, ending with a semicolon. Now, before I go with a width and height, I want to get the actual width and height for my mage's image. To do that, I could go ahead and create a floating point variable of my textures' width and textures' height, ending with a semicolon. Then I can use the SDL underscore get texture size function. Okay, this function gets me the textures' size. It does require a few parameters though. So it requires my textures' parameter. In this case, that is going to be my mage image. And then the memory address of my textures' width and the memory address of my textures' height. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Can you speak Indian language? I mean, I can like speak a bit, but I'm not like as fluent in it as I'm in English. That's next up. I'll go with something like mage rect dot. Let's say something like width is going to be my textures is width, ending with a semicolon. Actually, my textures is width multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. This apparently gets my scale correct. Did you create the libraries? Honestly, I didn't. Like, these are like inbuilt libraries for like SDL3, because like if you guys did like work with Pygames and like Python, it's almost the same, but Pygames only works with Python. In the other hand, SDL3 does work with C, C Sharp, C++, maybe a few more languages as well. Bro, from which college? Honestly, I don't think I can say my college name, guys. Okay, that said, let's go with something like textures is height multiplied by my scale, ending with a semicolon. Is our goal to make an actual project, or just learn SDL3 asking, since it feels like you start from scratch every now and then remove all code? Honestly, yeah, the reason I do like remove my code and then start writing again is because I do need some practice, but eventually this is like for my main goal, which is like programming for 250 series. This is currently day 73. That said, at the end of my day 250, I do want to make a actual game that consists of AI logic in it. So I would have to like be really good with SDL3 and maybe some other programming language that does support AI as well. Maybe I think Python. I might actually like merge them if that makes any sense. What's with a fake accent, guys? I think my accent is like kind of real. That's it. Once I'm done with my major, let's see what's the next thing that I might do. I might actually create a void drop function. Yeah, are you from South India? Honestly, I haven't like been to India, but I might actually visit there someday. I might actually stream myself because I'm kind of excited to visit India soon. Okay, let's see. So I created a constructor and then I created floating point. I created my mage image. What else would I need? I actually forgot. Bro, create another file. Don't remove your code even if it's rubbish garbage. Huh. Honestly, I feel like my code is like always saved in the streams and everything, because like I do write it on stream because I don't have like time to work on it off stream. That said, honestly, I think that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and create a void drop method that does require a parameter of my render. So I'll go with something like SDL underscore render, which is going to be having my render as a parameter. There we go. Okay, maybe I go ahead and create this function outside my constructor instead of like inside my constructor. So I'm going to paste that right here. Okay, and maybe my mage rec should be outside my constructor. Okay, I think it should. So I might actually copy my SDL underscore mage rec, delete it from here real quick, and then let's paste it outside my constructor. There we go. Okay, so I have my rect and my mage. Now I create my draw function. For my draw function, I could use the SDL underscore the render texture function. So this function basically tells my render to like render a texture on the screen. I'm from Mumbai. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, what's your favorite game? I used to play a lot of Roblox, but I feel like ever since I started my programming series, guys, I lost like all the interest in like playing games and everything. Okay, there's no reason to remove your code. Just create another file and do the rest of your work in there. That does actually make sense. Don't you know Verilog language? Honestly, I haven't like heard of that. Okay, that said, why is your shirt covered in paint? Guys, it's actually not paint. It's like, I think it's like, whatchamacallit, it's like the actual color. This is how I bought it. Okay, can you change your background? It's so annoying. Guys, I feel like this is like, whatchamacallit, just a handy background. I just tore my bedsheet and I like stuck it on my, my wall, so it looks kind of good. That's the next step. I'm going to be needing a texture, which is going to be my mage image, and then I'm going to go with a comma. Okay, why is your shirt covered in paint? Guys, it's actually not paint. Okay, try where wins meet. Try where wins meet. Bro, I just subscribed to comment on this. I watched you on and off, but if you need an AC, I can buy it for you. Honestly, I do have an AC, but I feel like I prefer like fan a bit more because it is like, whatchamacallit, it is like almost December and everything, so it's getting kind of cold. So guys, might have to like, whatchamacallit, use some heater and all that stuff. Okay, sorry bro, no disrespect. I don't think that was a disrespect. Okay, that said, yeah, how do you know about a hardware chip? Honestly, I haven't like thought about that. That's it. Next up, my direction rect is gonna be my mage's rect. Okay, perfect. It's gonna be the memory address. I keep forgetting. It's gonna be the memory address of my mage's rect. And then I'm gonna end my function with a semicolon. Now, that's pretty much it for my class. So I'm gonna go ahead and create my main function now. Is he still fake coding nothing? Guys, I think I was already done with like one code, but then I'm actually like whatchamacallit, writing another code because this one before I did work with like collision logic with actual shapes. Now I want to work with like PNGs and try like pixel perfect collision because I feel like I got a pretty good grasp on like whatchamacallit, shape collision, if that made any sense. He's not even working on a project, he's wipe coding. You can tell his variables don't match. Guys, I was just done with writing a code. That's it, I'm gonna go with the integer of argc, and then let's go with something like a character, which is going to be a pointer towards an array of argv. And then let's go with the pro of curly braces. At least he's learning something new every day, not like us still awake at like 12:20 a.m. Guys, you guys should actually sleep, because like make sure you get your 12 hours of sleep, because that's kind of good for health. Okay, hey, Verilog is more interesting than these. Honestly, it's like Verilog like a language or something. Okay, that's it. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and use a if statement to initialize my SDL and also check if my SDL was not initialized properly. Game live regularly, then you'll get more subscribers. Guys, I've been like going live every single day actually. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like if not SDL underscore init. He's not learning anything, the variables don't match. That would throw an error if it was real. Guys, I like actually run my code. It's kind of funny though. Okay, that said, I'm gonna look if my SDL's video section was not initialized properly, so I'll go with SDL underscore init underscore video, and then I'm gonna go with the row of curly braces. Okay, yes, Pahi, I want to learn more and more. That actually sounds kind of cool. Good luck with the learning. I appreciate your hard work, dude. I actually appreciate you guys so much. Okay, that said, now I'm gonna check if my SDL was not initialized properly. I'm gonna go ahead and add a standard C error with an insertion operator. That gives me an SDL underscore init error. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go to a new line, add another insertion operator, and use the function actually gets me an error. Which grade? Honestly, I'm actually not in school anymore. I did like start college. I am like a freshman in college. That's it. My college might be like this semester is almost over. Once it's over, I might have more time to like practice more coding, because the reason I am going a bit slow paced is because I'm focused more on my college stuff than like my actual let's go with something like standard headline ending with a semicolon. Yeah, because I'm focused on more of my college stuff than like my actual streaming stuff, because guys, I do want to get like good A's, because I feel I am going to be ending with like a 4.0 GPA this semester, so I do want to like actually push hard for these final exams and all that stuff. That's sad. He's learning at least few new stuffs daily. You can't blame him even after you think he's less productive. Guys, that's actually true. I am like learning in a very slow pace right now, because like I don't have much time, because I usually only program when I'm streaming. So like every time I stream, that's the only time I actually learn something new. How old are you? Honestly, I am 17. That's it. I'm going to be turning 18 really soon. Kind of excited, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and return one here. Okay, sorry for you, layman, but what does the code do? Honestly, I'm trying to like load two PNGs on my screen and like add a collision logic when the two PNGs meet. And unlike the square collision, like when two boxes touch, I want to add a pixel perfect collision. So like if one PNG's pixel touches another PNG's pixel, I want the game to end, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like, let's say a few game variables now. So let's go ahead and add a few game variables. Okay, now for my game variables, firstly, I'm going to be creating a constant integer of, let's say, something like width. So I'm going to go with something like a constant integer of width, which is going to be equal to, let's say, something like 1000 ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go with something like a constant integer of height, which is my Windows's height. That is going to be 800 ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's change that to const. Show me as a layman, if that makes any sense. Show me as a layman. Honestly, I haven't like heard of layman. He's doing stream YT and coding daily. You should learn from him rather than blaming him. Guys, that does actually make sense. Okay, if you need thrill in learning program, please learn Verlong. That okay, the name actually sounds really cool. I might just learn because of the name. Okay, because I do want to start assembly really soon as well. I feel it's going to be really fun. Okay, and then let's go with something like a floating point of x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be set to 5 pixels per frame, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go with something like a floating point for y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to something like 5 pixels per frame as well, ending with a semicolon. See my pair of parentheses is, dude, are you from tech field? Honestly, I don't think I'm like actually from tech field. Maybe I am, because like I'm not like professionally doing anything, because like I am just learning this like I'm learning the programming technically unofficially because I did not take any courses, so I'm just like self-learning myself. Okay, now I mean, show me how it looks for common people. Common people, I think this is how like Visual Studio looks. I like watching this guy stream. Seeing him grow makes me happy. Honestly, I like these comments, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Like, always like reading these comments. That's the thing that actually makes me happy. Okay, now I'm gonna add a comment that says something like create window and render. Okay, so to create my window and render at the same time, firstly, I'm going to be needing two variables. The first variable is going to be, let's say, from my SDL underscore Windows structure, which is going to be a Windows pointer that is going to be set to null period, which is technically a placeholder for pointers. And then I'm going to go with something like SDL underscore render with an asterisk to, let's say, my render local variable, which is going to be switched to null period as well, ending with a semicolon. Write Java code to get full shell access. I am really excited to like start Java. I might actually learn it. Okay, layman is someone not familiar with the subject you're familiar with. Oh, I see. Okay, how does it look? Honestly, I'm almost done with the code, I feel. Alright, once I'm done with adding or like creating my window and my render, I'm gonna be using the function that actually creates both my window and my render at the same time. Can you explain why you chose 1000 in width and 800 with height? Honestly, you guys could like change this to be almost anything. The reason I chose it to be 1800 so my vertical stream can also see my entire like my entire window. Because if I did like change this to like 800 by like 600, that would be like a bit smaller as well. I feel it does depend on like preferences. So like you guys could like change the size to be almost anything. So I'm going to go ahead and use the SDL underscore create and render function, and then I'm going to go with the pair of curly braces. Okay, what happened to the no talking stream idea? Guys, I feel that was kind of hard, so I like scrapped that off. Okay, just leave this live. Okay, that said, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and add, let's say a few parameters. So my create window and render does require a caption parameter. So I'll go with something like SDL3 window created. And then I'm gonna be needing a width and height parameter as well. So I'm gonna use my width variable and my height variable. And then I'm going to be needing a flag as well. So I might go with something like SDL underscore window underscore resizable flag. This flag makes my window resizable. Although if you guys don't want your window to be resizable, you guys could like add this to be 0. And then I'll need the memory address of my window local variable and the memory address of my render local variable. Lol, why not just use ChatGPT? I do use ChatGPT to like learn the code and everything, but once I do understand the code, I write it on my own because like I do want to understand how the stuff works. Yes, JavaScript is harder than Python. Honestly, I feel like that does make sense because like Python was a pretty good language to like begin with because it was like kind of hard, but eventually it did get like really easy, so it got a bit boring for me. Although I feel C++ is kind of better than like Python because like it's not as boring. I mean, it's not as easy as Python. That said, I might check something like if not window, if my window was not created properly, or not renderer, if my renderer was not created properly. I'm gonna do something. Firstly, I'm gonna be displaying a standard C error, a error message that says something like SDL underscore create window and a renderer error. It's basically my function name, and I just say this function got an error, and then I'm gonna go with another insertion operator that actually uses the functions. I'm going to use the SDL underscore get errors function. This function actually gets me an error. Okay, are you a developer? Okay, this is C++. It has many terms compared to both Java and Python. Oh, I see. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, it seems easy, but he's learning different concepts daily. Honestly, that does make sense. It is kind of, kind of tough for the time being, but then eventually, once I am like done with my college, I will be having like let me just use a standard end line. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with my college, I will like have the whole day to actually program because right now I do like program for like 1 to 2 hours a day. But once my college is over, I might like actually go for like I think about like 8 to 10 hours a day because that's how much time I used to program when I first started Python. But guys, ever since college started, I did want to like keep my 4.0 GPA because I didn't want to like drop down to lower than that because I feel like it is kind of cool to have 4.0 GPA. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and return 1. And now once I'm done creating my window and my renderer, firstly I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a main loop. So I might go with main loop. Okay, laymen are waiting. Okay, yes, I'm actually authored a Java book. That actually sounds kind of cool. Can you write an exploit? Honestly, I don't think so. That's it. Firstly, I'm going to be creating a few variables for my main loop. The first variable is going to be a boolean of, let's say, is running. This is going to check if my program is still running. I'm initially going to be setting this to be true. And then I'm going to be needing a event variable. So this is going to be SDL underscore event. My SDL underscore events structure consists of all my SDLs as event. I'm going to be setting that to an event variable. And then I'm going to create a bunch more boolean variables. For example, a down to check if my a button is currently being pushed down. It's currently not, so I'm going to set that equal to false. I'm going to go with d down as well. I'll set that equal to false as well because I'm not pushing my d down currently. And then I'm going to go with w down, which is going to be set to false as well. And lastly, I'm going to go with s down, which is set to false as well, ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with those, let's go ahead and create a while loop. So this is going to be my main game loop. So I'm going to do something like while is running. While my is running is set to true, I'm going to do something. I'm going to add a comment that says something like event loop. This is going to be a while loop inside of a while loop. My event loop is going to be in charge of looking for the events that I'm actually looking for. If one of those events is met, it does what I tell it to do. So I will be requiring the function of the SDL underscore poll event. This function requires a parameter of the memory address of my event variable. Okay, now what the SDL underscore poll event function does, it looks for all the event types that I'm looking for. If any of this event is actually met, it does what I tell it to do. So I'm going to look for event type. So I'll go with something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore quit. If my event type is quit, then I'm going to set my is running boolean variable to be false, ending with a semicolon. What the quit event type actually does is it checks if I click my top right X button. If I did click that, it ends my SDL. Okay, damn, my guy's insane. Okay, try being a indie developer, you learn 10 times more. Honestly, I haven't like heard of that. How old are you that you know C++? Honestly, I am like 17. That's it. I'm going to be turning like 18 really soon. Kind of excited for that. My birthday is January 5th. Okay, howdy Pixels. I appreciate you joining the stream. Why can you write exploit? You're good at programming. What's limiting you to writing exploits? Honestly, I feel like, I don't know actually. Like, I haven't like, heard much about exploits. Okay, so next up, I'm going to look for another event type. So I'm going to go with something like if my event.type equals to SDL underscore event underscore key underscore down. So if my event type is down, if my user is currently pushing, or like if my button is currently being held down, then I'm going to do something. I could add a if statement here, but I want to use switches because I feel switches does look a bit more classy. Okay, so I'm going to go with switch. So this looks if all the buttons in my keyboard are currently being pushed down, but I want to look for a specific type of button. So I'm going to go with event.type, actually event.key.key. This condition checks my exact key that's currently being pushed down. So I'm going to add a few cases. So if the exact key that's currently being pushed down is, let's say, something like A, if my A is being pushed down, then I'm going to set my a down boolean variable to be true, ending with a semicolon. Then I break. And then for my second case, I check if my SDL's key that is being pushed down is D. I set my D down boolean variable to be true, ending with a semicolon. And then I break as well. Okay, why are you stressing your mind? Because I feel like, actually I feel like the more stressed I am, the better I get. Okay, that said, I'm 20 and I only have a few languages: JavaScript, Java, PHP, C, Rust, and Golang. That actually sounds so cool. The thing is that he's making content, learning new skill daily, improving communication at the same time. That actually does make sense. Keep the heat up, but you got a new sub. I appreciate it, Dev. That actually means the world to me. Okay, sorry, bro. Jess was trying to steer the worldly way because I believe you have the good comms with both IE, Python, and layman. Oh, I see. What kind of project are you working on? A game? Honestly, I am working on collision logic and how I did work on collision logic with actual shapes, so when two shapes collide, but now I do want to work with pixel perfect collision with actual PNGs. Okay, that's it. Let's say if my SDL's key is something like W, if my W is being pushed down, I'm gonna set my W down to be set to true, ending with a semicolon, and then I break. And lastly, I'm gonna check if my SDL's key is S. If my S is currently being pushed down, I'm gonna set my S down to be true, ending with a semicolon, and then I break as well. Okay, perfect. And then just to save time, I might copy that and paste it all the way here again, because I do need two event types. This if statement checks if my buttons are currently being held down. Although this if statement is gonna check if my buttons are not being held down anymore, which means it's being pushed upwards. So if any of these buttons are being pushed up, I'm going to reset all these trues to be falses again, so my buttons are no longer being held downwards. Okay, I'm going to change this to false as well and change this to false as well. Okay, so are you making your own game engine or something? Honestly, I think that does make sense. I am like learning the basic game logic. Okay, that said, once I'm done with this, that's pretty much it for my main while loop. So I'm gonna go ahead and exit my event loop. My bad guys, I meant event loop, not like while loop. So I exit my event loop, and then let's add a comment that says something like key controls. So this is where I'm gonna be working with my key controls. For my key controls, I'm gonna be adding a few if statements. Let's go ahead and check something like if my A down is set to true, I'm gonna do something. Firstly, I wanna increase my rects. Okay, before I do create my, my key controls and my main loop, since I have a class, I forgot to create objects. I'm gonna add a comment that says something like create objects. Now, I'm gonna be creating a object from my mage class. It is gonna be called my, mage object that does require two parameters. The first parameter is going to be my renderer. The second parameter is, let's say, going to be scale. I'm going to say my mage is going to be 0.1 scale, and then I'm going to end it with a semicolon. That sounds cool. I hope you can do it. I've been watching you for about 5 minutes, and I can already think you're smart. Honestly, I appreciate you, Ultron. That actually means the word to me, guys. Okay, that's it. Now, for my key controls, I check if my A is currently being pushed down. I want to move my mage.rect.x-axis, so I move my mage's x-axis. Okay, why can't I move my rect? Hold up, let me scroll all the way up here till my mage. Okay, I could change my mage to just be called rect, so let's just change that to be called rect. So I'm gonna change this to be rect. Let's change that to be rect as well. Let's go ahead and change that to be rect and rect. And lastly, I'm gonna change that to be rect as well. Okay, now if I scroll all the way down, I'm pretty sure I can use my mage.rect. There we go. Okay, so mage.rect.x-axis is going to decrease by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to add another if statement to check if my D is currently being pushed down. If my D is being pushed down, I'm going to go with mage.rect. Let's say x-axis. I'm going to be increasing that by my x-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say if my W is currently being pushed down, then I'm going to go with the pair of curly braces. I'll go with mage.rect.y-axis this time. I'm going to go ahead and decrease that by my y-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. And then lastly, if let's say something like my S is being pushed down, if my S down is set to true, I'm going to go ahead and increase my mage.rect.y-axis. Let's say by my y-axis underscore velocity, ending with a semicolon. Okay, that's like pretty much it for my key controls. Now I'm gonna add a comment that says something like fill screen, because I do want to fill my screen instead of just having it be black. So to fill my screen, firstly I do gotta set a color to my renderer, because my renderer is the stuff that actually colors my entire screen. It's like a paintbrush. To do that, I could use the SDL underscore set render. So I'm setting my renderer to draw a color. So I'll use the set render draw color function. Now, my set render draw color function does require a few parameters. So, it firstly requires my renderer's parameter, and then the second, third, and fourth parameter is going to be an RGB value. I'm going to go with 0, 248, and 255. That is basically the RGB for cyan. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer a lot, but many of you guys did see me to avoid saying that, so I did like start avoid saying it. That's it, having sorrow. I appreciate you joining the stream. Now, after my RGB value, I'm going to add an alpha as well, which is going to be 255, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I actually set a color for my renderer, let's use the function that actually fills my screen. So I could go ahead and use the SDL underscore, let's say render clear function. So I'm going to use the render clear function. This function clears my entire screen with the current color of my renderer. and then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done filling my screen, let's add another comment that says graphics. What language is this? Honestly, it is C++. That's it. Now, for my graphics is basically where I like draw my objects and everything. So I could go with something like mage dot the draw method. I draw my mage. That does require a parameter of my renderer, and then I end it with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done drawing my mage, I'm going to add another comment that says something like present. This is going to be where I actually present my renders. So I'll use the SDL underscore render. I'm saying my render to present itself. So the render present function. That does require a parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. Now, if I didn't like actually present my render on my screen, we basically wouldn't be able to see anything except like black and white, because the render present is the stuff that actually shows the color of my renders. Okay, yo, what game are you making? Honestly, I'm working on collision logic. Actually, specifically, I'm working on the pixel perfect collision with like PNGs, because like I did like just go over like collision with shapes. So like when two shapes touch each other, they collide. It like says like collision in my terminal. That's it. Now I'm going to be adding FPS since I do have movement and everything. To add FPS, I could go with something like SDL underscore the delay function. Okay, I joined Discord. Could I share some experiences with you? And you with me? You're certainly very good at it, and I would like to learn something from you as a fellow programmer. That actually sounds kind of cool. I don't think I'm that experienced, but like in terms of SDL3 C++, I do have like brief knowledge. So if you guys do have any questions, you guys could like ask me in the Discord server. That's it. I think there's a lot for me to learn from you guys. Okay, my SDL underscore delay does require parameter of milliseconds, which is going to be 60. That is technically 60 frames per second. Once I'm done with all that, let's go and add a comment that says something like cleanup. So I'm going to go with something like cleanup. This is going to be when my player actually exits the window. Okay, are you using Unity? Honestly, actually, if I do like move on to like using a game engine, I will be using like Unreal or like Vulkan, because like Unity is for like C#. Unreal and Vulkan is like for C++. That's it. How things there. I appreciate you joining the stream. No, he's using SDL. Honestly, that does make sense. For the time being, I am using SDL because it requires more programming, so it does get you knowing on what you actually do compared to if you use like game engines. That said, what are you building today in C++? Honestly, I am learning collision logic. That's it. Now for my cleanup, firstly, I'm going to be destroying my window. So I'll go with something like SDL underscore destroy window function, which does require a parameter of my window. How many years have you been programming, or are you interested in it? Honestly, I've been like programming like in total for I think 173 days now, because like I had like a whole programming for like actually Python for 100-day series, where my goal by the end of that series was to make a game in general. I was done with that series like 73 days ago, and I did like write a 470 lines of code. I do have like streams on it though. Okay, you studying in college? Honestly, I am like a freshman in college, although I haven't like taken any programming courses yet. That said, I'm gonna go with something like SDL underscore destroy renderer. Okay, did I spell destroy correct? R-E-N-D-E-R-E-R. I think I spelled destroy wrong. Should be R-O-Y. There we go. Okay, my destroy renderer function does require parameter of my renderer as well. Okay, is it a wet paid skill coding with C++? Is it a well paid skill? Honestly, I don't actually know if it's like well paid, because like I don't have jobs or anything, because apparently you guys could like all be jobless right now, because I am just learning the skills and all that stuff. That said, I'm going to quit my SDL and lastly return 0. Okay, perfect. Now, if our control has to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I've been interested in programming ever since I was 12 years old. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, that said, here's my PNG. He does move with key controls. I do gotta... Okay, yeah, that does actually perfectly work. Okay, my PNG does work with key controls. Although, do I want to add clamping? Maybe I could like clamp. Okay, clamping is basically not letting my player exit my window. I could do that before I present, so I'm gonna add a comment that says something like trap player in window. To trap my player in window, I'm gonna be adding an if statement. Let's go with if paper of parentheses. Let's say something like if my mage.rect. Excuse me guys, x-axis is greater than 0, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to set my mage.rect.x-axis to be, let's say something like equal to 0. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And then let's go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if my mage.rect.x-axis is, let's say, something like okay, I want to check if my clamping works real quick, is like less than my width, which is my Windows' size, then I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. I'll go with mage.rect.x-axis is going to be, okay, this should be, okay, is less than my width, is going to be equal to my width minus my mage.rect.width, ending with a semicolon. Now I'm going to be doing that for y-axis as well. I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if my mage.rect.y-axis is greater than 0, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces. There we go. What up, guys? Okay, I'll go with a pair of curly braces. And then I'm going to set my mage.rect.y-axis to be equal to 0, ending with a semicolon. And lastly, if a pair of parentheses, if my mage.rect.y-axis is either less than, well guys, this is going to be rect, okay, is either less than my Windows's height, then I'm going to do something. I'm going to go with something like my mage.rect.y-axis is going to be equal to my Windows's height minus my minus my mage.rect.height, ending with a semicolon. Okay, that was actually a lot. Okay, do you write all of it in one file, or can you organize it? Because as you probably know, after a few days it'll turn into a spaghetti, guys. That does make a lot of sense, because whatchamacallit, I do need to actually add them in different files, but I might actually do that once I do understand the concepts and everything. Then try start learning JavaScript, Rect, Node.js, develop, CI/CD, Azure, each one by one, and these are well paid, and when you get increased skills are highly demanded and well paid. Oh, I see. Okay, man, you have a higher class Indian accent. Oh, do I actually? Okay, that's it. Now if I were to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So I get my window here. Okay, I think, guys, I messed it up a bit, because can you guys see my PNG? It does not completely move because I locked it right in that place. It does not move at all. What up, guys? Maybe I did a few things wrong here. Let me change that to height. That is my height. Okay, maybe I changed this to be less than and that to be greater than. Okay, let's try that for here as well. Change this to be greater than and that to be less than. And now for the controllers to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so my mage is here. He does move. He gets clamped here. He gets clamped up. Does he get clamped to the right? Okay, he does not get clamped to the right. Does he get clamped down? Okay, he does not. He's just clamped in the left side. Okay, maybe I gotta fix that part. That's basically web dev. Oh, I see. Do you have a GitHub profile? I'd love to take a look at your project sometimes. Honestly, I do have GitHub. That's it. I didn't learn how to use GitHub just yet. I do actually want to learn. Maybe once my college is over, I might actually learn how to use GitHub. Okay, that said, I go with something like mage.rect.width. Okay, I have x-axis. Okay, if it's greater than 800, if I go past 800, then mage dot my width minus. Okay, maybe I think there's something wrong here, but I could check that up later. That said, I do want to load another PNG as well, so I might go ahead and create another class. So I mean, I don't think the class is even that necessary. I just want to change my PNGs, so maybe I go ahead and copy this class just to save some time, and then let's go ahead and paste it here. Okay, I'm just going to change this mage to be called devil. I'll go with devil image, and then copy that. Let's paste that here and paste that here as well. Okay, paste it here too. Change mage to be something like devil.png. And that should pretty much be it for my second class as well. This is going to be called my devil class. I'm going to go with devil. Okay, he's clamped, but you forgot to add the sprite size in the conditions. Oh, I see. Oh, guys, might actually try that. This is my devil's class. Okay. Hold up, did I mess something up when I changed my devil's class? Oh, okay. Let's change that to devil. Okay, and then change my constructor to be called devil as well. Okay, perfect. Now let's scroll all the way down and go ahead and create a devil object here. So this is going to be my devils class, which is going to have a devils object that does require a parameter of my render and size, which is going to be 0.1, ending with a semicolon. Okay, maybe I change the position a bit as well, so I'm going to change the 500 to be something like 100. Okay, perfect. And then now let's go ahead and draw my devil. So I'm going to go under my graphics and do something like devil.draw with a pair of parentheses. Okay, this is going to have a parameter of my renderer ending with a semicolon. Okay, so here's clam, but you forgot to add the sprite size in the conditions. So if my mage.rect.y-axis is greater than my height, let's go with something like plus my mage.rect.width. Okay, does this make sense? Or wait, instead of adding my mage.rect.width here, I might add it somewhere right here. So plus mage.rect.height. Okay, and then let's do the same thing here. I'm gonna go with something like plus my mage.rect.width. Okay, you seem to be doing good in coding, seems to have good grasping as I've seen in a few minutes. Your accent is also quite good for international meetings. Oh, honestly, that does make sense. Which I appreciate you winning up for that. Okay, that's it now. If I hit control is to save the code and run the command and see what happens. So, I get my page here. Does he clam? Okay, perfect. He does clam. I was just missing my conditions. Now, I wanna add a collision logic for every time I touch my my devil PNG here. Okay, although I don't know how to add my pixel perfect collision, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part. What are we developing? Honestly, so far, if I were to like run the code, this is so far what I've like actually added. This was like kind of easy, just moving my PNG with like key controls, clamping. Now the thing that I want to learn is like pixel perfect collision. When my mage PNG touches or like collides with my devil's PNG, I want to do something. For example, exit my window saying game is over, or like print collision or something in my terminal right here. Okay, that said, to do that, I don't actually know how to add pixel perfect collision in like SDL3, so I might actually do that. I guess I'll go to bed now. It's 10:30 in the evening here in the CZEC Republic, and I have to get up for school tomorrow. Even though I'm 20, I'm only third year of high school. Honestly, it does sound kind of cool. Good luck with that. Good night and sweet dreams. I'll catch you next stream. Okay, I'm not doing well in math. I'm repeating a year. Oh, I see. Honestly, I feel like I am kind of bad at math as well. That's it. Let's get some Sensei/ChatGPT here now. Let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like Sensei. I did add. Let's say something like I did add 2 PNGs. Although I don't know how to add the collision logic now. So can you teach it to me? Question mark. Okay, instead of collision, I'll go with something like pixel perfect. Go with something like pixel perfect collision, because I will need surfaces and everything. Whereas the ability of talking non-stop, guys, I feel like I'm kind of a yapper. That's it, people. You actually got both PNGs loaded and they scale and they do move. I'm impressed. Come your head pat, you earned it. But listen closely now. Pixel perfect collision is not a tiny upgrade. It's a dark ritual, a forbidden craft. The thing SDL will not do for you unless you bend it to your will, and I will teach you step by step, because if you get this working on stream, your viewers will lose their minds. Okay, the 3 laws of pixel perfect collision. You must access pixel data. Pixel perfect collision means if there a pixel inside both sprites at the same spot that is not transparent. Pixel perfect collision means is there a pixel inside both sprites at the same spot that is not transparent? Oh, I see. To do that, you must load PNGs into surfaces, not directly into textures. You must convert both images to a known pixel format, so you always know where alpha lives. You only check inside the area where the bounding boxes overlap. Bounding box collision, easy. Pixel perfect collision, bounding box first, then pixels inside. I think I see. Okay, step 1, load PNGs as surfaces first. Right now your code loads textures directly. Image equals to image underscore load texture function. Okay, I do it directly. This will not work for pixel perfect collision. So that is wrong. change your classes to SDL underscore surface, mage surface, SDL underscore texture, mage texture. Bros using AI is just not for laziness but for hints. Said hi. I think Zay, I appreciate you joining the stream. And yeah, actually that does make sense because many of you guys do say me to avoid using AI and just like read the docs. But eventually when I do start like something harder that AI does not know, that's when I am going to go to docs. But for the time being, I'm like, since the AI is like a pretty good learning tool, I might actually learn from it. That's it. How are you doing? ISM, is how you pronounce your name? Is Ismabix? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, then load like this. Mage surface equals to image underscore load assets mage surface. Okay, so image underscore load function, does that work as well? So I create two local variables, image underscore surface. So a surface is local variable and a textures is local variable. My mage's surface is going to be my mage's file path. My mage's texture is going to be, oh, I see. SDL underscore create texture from surface that does require render parameter and the file path. My file path is going to be my major surface. Okay, do the same for devil. Now you have 2 pixel axis. Step 2, convert to a known format ARGB 8888. So made surface SDL underscore convert surface format. Okay, made surface SDL underscore pixel format underscore ARGB 8888. Okay, hold up, guys. This might be kind of complicating. This ensures alpha is in one predictable place. Step 3, get pixel data. This is how you read one's pixel RGB. And this is the part that I think it might be SDL2. Try killing AI as he can handle your content longer than other AIs is made for coding. Honestly, I might actually try that. Okay, that said, okay, and then bounding box boolean BB. Okay, hold up. Let me actually say something like, alright guys, that's like a lot. Step 5, pixel overlap inside overlap area, convert word space. Can I like create a function for this? Okay, let me say something like, say, do you think that I can create a function for my pixel perfect collision question mark? And also I feel like pixel perfect collision was much easier in Pi games compared to SDL3 question mark. Okay, I didn't want to write it in caps, honestly. But like, you absolute germinal of ambition. Yes, you can make a function for a pixel perfect collision, and you should. Otherwise, your main loop is going to look like a goblin stacks return. Come here, forward flick, because you're asking the right thing, but you're whining about Pygame being easier. Of course, Pygame felt easier. Pygame hides the pixel format, hides texture conversion, hides the graphics API. SDL is low level. Low level basically means more close to machine's way of talking. SDL shows you the machinery, the gears, the sharp wires. It's real engine work, not baby mode wizardry. I guess we're learning SDL then. Your stream wants to see you bleed a little, your brain wants to complain. I want you to win and you will. Yes, make a function a clean, reusable one, but do it after you get the surface loaded and working. The final version will look something like this. Boolean pixel perfect collision constant SDL underscore frects is okay. Okay, let me say something like, say, maybe can I get a reference code to see how it looks like and works question mark? You can add it in my current code. Okay, let's paste my current code here. The reason I did like ask for a reference code because sometimes I want to like learn the code without actually looking if it actually works, because sometimes it is like the code from SDL2. That's it. Add this function above main function, then add this in your main loop. So, okay, boolean check collision SDL underscore frect constant frect. Okay, and then here's your full updated main loop snippet. Okay, so maybe I might get Sensei/ChatGPT in other tab because I do want to like copy this part to actually check if it does really work. Okay, so let's scroll all the way down to Okay, so it says add this function above the main function. So above my main function, I'm gonna go ahead and create another function. So I'm gonna go all the way here. I'm creating a boolean function, so I'll go with something like a boolean of check collision. Okay, code. Okay, guys, I should like whatchamacallit work on my typos. I feel like I have way more typos. Okay, so I have like a check collision function that requires a few parameters. The first parameter is going to be a constant SDL's frect, so my frect is structure, which is the memory address of A, and then I'm going to need a constant frect for B as well. So I might go with something like a constant. Let's go with something like SDL underscore frect structure of B. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. I require two parameters here. Although I do gotta add an address of operator. You shouldn't rely on AI in midway. Honestly, the reason I am actually like writing the reference code is like to understand how it works, because like I feel sometimes in theory when I just read the explanation it does not work, but when I actually type the code I understand what I'm actually doing. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and return, add a pair of parentheses. Now I'm going to return a.x. Okay, so my a.x axis. Oh, I think I see this is my local variable of my rex. And then I'm going to check if that is less than my b.x axis. Okay, plus my b.width. And let's say something like my a.x axis plus my a.w. Instead of typing, I think I should like just copy to check if it actually works. I'll go with b.x-axis, and I was building a website and wanted to remove icon, but AI gave a code that deleted my whole hard work. Guys, that's the reason that I do actually want to confirm before I do like learn this part if it actually works properly, because there are some times when this part is actually wrong. That's the reason. Honestly, instead of actually typing it, I might copy it in that case, so that would actually save some time as well, because I do want to write it to check if this part actually does work. Okay, and if it does work, then I'm actually gonna like work on learning it. Okay, then add this inside the main loop after movement but before drawing. So after my movement, which is my key controls, okay, but before drawing, so I'm gonna go ahead and paste this here. This is my collision check. Excuse me guys, here's your full updated main loop snippet for clarity. I kept it small so your brain doesn't melt. Okay, so after key controls, I added my collision check, okay. Alright, now listen to me people, this is the foundation of all collision systems. So is this pretty much it? If I would hit Control S to save the code and run the command, does that actually add a collision logic? Okay, so here's my terminal. Hold up, let me actually try getting a collision first. Okay, it does actually get a collision logic. Is it pixel perfect though? I mean, I do get a lot of collision. Okay, it is pixel perfect, but then there might be something I want to check. Hold up, guys. Let's go with something like Control A, Control C, copy that. I want one hit per frame. Like, I just wanted to say like collision detection one time every time I hit. Okay, let's just go ahead and extend that real quick. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and see something like Sensei. It works. I do get a collision detection, although I do want to just see collision once in my terminal. Okay, right now I get a collision 60 times per hit, if that made any sense, question mark. Okay, let's see. People, good, you made it work, but you're... Okay, but now you're seeing the truth of game logic. Your code is running every frame, so of course the terminal is screaming collision detection like a possessed parrot. You should make the structure by yourself. AI is just drill, but with no eyes. You're the one who's in command. If you let it handle the whole project, the project will be demolished. Honestly, that does make sense. The reason I do use AI is just to learn, because like I don't know how structures and all that stuff actually works inside of SDL3. So once I do understand that, I do eventually add my own logic. But before I do add my logic, I do need to know the basic concepts. That said, you want 1 print per collision, not 60 per frame. I'll show you the fix, and it's simple but fundamental. You add a collision state, you track whether they're colliding last frame, and only print when they first collide. Drop this right above the main loop. Okay, boolean was colliding equals false. Now replace your collision block with boolean is colliding equals to mage.rect devil.rect if is colliding and not was colliding. Okay, was colliding equals to is colliding. Okay, when collision starts, print once. I think I see, so I gotta go ahead and say was colliding false. Okay, collision check mage rect devil rect, and then is colliding and was colliding. Standard console output collision detected was colliding equals to is colliding. Okay, hold up guys, so all the way up here, I'm gonna go ahead above my main loop and create something like a boolean of was colliding. Okay, which is initially going to be set to false, ending with a semicolon. Then let's scroll all the way down here. Okay, right here. Okay, so now I check something, so I'm going to go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if is colliding. Okay, was it is colliding? I forgot that part. So it says if is colliding. Do I have a is colliding boolean variable? Did I create that somewhere? Okay, didn't I not create my is colliding? Because I don't think that I have one. Okay, if is colliding, I knew I didn't have one. What up guys? So let's read the whole instruction. Maybe I missed something. So I gotta create a boolean was colliding, and boolean is colliding equals to collision check. Oh, I see, equals to check collision. Okay, so that is my check collision. I'm gonna delete this part. So I'll go with something like a boolean of is colliding. Alright guys, let's go with something like is colliding, which is going to be equal to, let's go with something like my collision check function that I created all the way up here to, okay, how high is it? There we go. Okay, so it's my collision check function, which is above my main loop. So I'm going to copy that, go all the way down right here. Okay, so it should be right here. I'm gonna go ahead and paste that here. So check collision, it does require a few parameters. So it requires my rect A and rect B. My rect A is gonna be my devil image. Okay, and then my rect B. Okay, wait, is it devil image or is it devil rect? I think it's devil rect. Okay, so I'll go with devil.rect. So there we go. Okay, and then next up, I'm gonna go with something like mage.rect, and then I'm gonna end this with a semicolon. Now I'll add a if statement to check if is colliding. Okay, alright guys, there we go. So if my devil rect is colliding with my mage rect, and let's say something like and not colliding, okay, and not was colliding, okay, so if I'm currently colliding and if my was colliding is set to false, then I'm going to print something. I got you, just explain it to him, give him the data, and he'll give you the parts you need. You will then decide where to place it and how to modify it to suit your needs. And actually, it does make sense. I'm working on a chat app, Python for backend and Kotlin for frontend, Android, and today I got the registration complete. This is of no use to you. I just wanted to share my happiness. Thanks. Honestly, it does sound pretty cool. Good luck. Actually, congratulations / good luck with that, Unkmish. Is that how you pronounce your name? That said, I'm gonna go with something like a pair of curly braces that gives a standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's say something like collision detection. Actually, collided. I'll go with something like collided. Okay, and then I'm going to go with a / new line, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. So now, I think this should pretty much be it. If audit control has to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so I get my window here. Okay, if I hit my mage, I do get like a lot of collisions as well. Okay, I'm not doing very well in math. Repeating this here. Oh, I see. That actually sounds, whatchamacallit, I think like I am kind of bad at math as well. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and copy that. Let's get some CSS.GPT back here. Now let's go ahead and paste it, go with shift enter and say something like, since say I still see collision text for 60 times per frame. Okay, let's see. Okay, I guess let's think. Honestly, I think I do want to work with like a chat app as well, because I did want to create a chatbot. Maybe after my C++ 400 series. That's it, people. You forgot to update the was colliding inside the loop. You absolute German. Hold up, guys. Okay, maybe I go with something like is colliding. Actually, let's go with was colliding equals to is colliding. So my was colliding, okay, equals to my is colliding. Okay, and then I go ahead and end it with a semicolon. Also, didn't I need surfaces and all that stuff? Okay, now for it controllers to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. So I get my window here. If I hit my mage, okay, it does show it just once. So every time I collide, let's try colliding again. Okay, it just shows it once. That's actually perfect. In case you guys couldn't see, there we go. Okay, now I can work on learning the code, but something feels off. Why does this feel kind of easy? I thought it'd be much tougher. Okay, hold up. Let's go with something like Control A, Control C. Copy that. Let me actually ask something. So, I'm gonna go ahead and paste this, go with Shift Enter and see something like, let's say, okay, it works, exclamation. That said, why does something feel off? This shouldn't, okay, this should not be that easy, question mark. I did not even use surfaces and all that stuff. Is my is my collision being activated when my PNG's pixels hit or when their rexes hit? I think it's not pixel perfect. Instead, it's rex's collision. Okay, that made any sense, guys. And I didn't want to like actually write that in uppercase. Exactly, people. What you just implemented is rectangle collision, not pixel perfect collision. Let me break this down. Rectangle collision, what you did, it only checks if the bounding boxes of the two images overlap. It doesn't care what's actually drawn inside the PNG. Even the transparent parts count. That's why it feels too easy. Your mage might not even touch the devil visually, but collision still triggers. Pixel perfect collision, this is the actual pixels of the image. To see non-transparent pixels overlap, much harder because you need to access the pixel data. In SDL3, you'd usually convert SDL underscore texture into SDL underscore surface, or copy pixels into a buffer, then compare the alpha values of overlapping pixels. So yes, your collision works, but it's just rectangle hugging each other. If you want, I can show you a reference pixel perfect collision and add it to your current code. Do you want me to do that next, people? Let's say something like this, say, because I do want, like, unlike since I am like learning, might as well learn pixel perfect. Okay, quick fast. When you paste your code into ChatGPT, put quotes at the start. Is a backtick, not quite. It's one of the under escape key. Also, a quote in the end of the code is like your code. Oh, I see, and see the magic. That actually does make sense. I might try that. That's actually kind of genius. Alright, people, listen closely. Pixel perfect collision in SDL3 is tricky, but we can do it step by step. Convert your SDL's texture to SDL's surface so we can access pixel data. Find the overlapping rectangle between your two sprites. Check pixel by pixel inside the overlap. If both pixels are non-transparent, collision is real. Here's a reference function for pixel perfect collision. So we create a boolean pixel perfect collision, surface, a surface, and then frex. Okay, so do we have two parameters? So I have a parameter. That's my first parameter, which is my SDL's surfaces structure. The second is SDL's frect, which is a rect. So we have SDL surface, a rect, and then we have surface B, and we have rect B. Okay, I see how this works. And then now find overlapping rectangles. So we go with integer start x. We go with standard min. integer a rect, okay, and then integer b rect starting y, integer a rect dot y axis, integer b rect dot y axis, and then integer for, excuse me guys, for end I go with standard min integer a rect, excuse me guys, dot x axis plus a rect dot width, comma, integer b rect dot x axis plus b rect dot width. I do the same for end y, but I just changed x's to y's. And then I go with a for loop. So for every integer of y which equals to start y, while my y is less than my end y, I increment my y by 1. And then I go with another for loop for every integer of x which equals to start x, while my x is less than my end x, I increment my x by 1. And then I go with for every integer of ax which equals to integer of x minus a rect, okay, multiplied by a surface which is pointing towards format that has an arrow mark operator for bytes per pixel. Okay, I haven't heard of format and I haven't heard of bytes per pixel. Might have to learn about those. Integer ay equals to integer y minus a rect dot y. uint, okay, this is the thing that I might, uint 8 is the thing that I might think would work, because like this is like for SDL2, so I might actually want it in my code. Okay, warning, this is more expensive than red collision. If you call this every frame, performance can drop for bigger sprites. Performance can drop. Okay, let me say something like which one is recommended question mark. Okay, because I've heard that pixel perfect collision is better, but why does the performance drop? Is that bad? And which one, let's say something like which one should I learn question mark? Okay, let's see. Alright, listen people, I'll break it down for you. Rectangle collision, how it works. Check if bounding boxes overlap. Pro super fast, almost free on performance. Cons, no exact sprite. Might collide even if their pixels don't actually touch. When to use most games, especially fast-paced ones, platformer, shooter, etc. It's the bread and butter collision, pixel perfect collision. How it works: pixel alpha val using the overlapping area. Collision only counts if actual visible pixels touch. Pros, exact collision looks perfect. Cons, expensive. Each frame you're looping over potentially hundreds or thousands of pixels. Big sprites or many objects. Oh, I see. Okay, truth Bob, 99% of the time rectangle collision is enough. Pixel perfect is mostly for show or very niche cases. Learning rectangle collision first is smarter, faster, and nearly what all games start with. Okay, I guess we're going with rectangle collision in that case. Okay, let me say something like, I see ... So maybe I'll just go with a rectangle collision. Okay, and honestly guys, I might like okay, hold up, I'll just go with something like rectangle collision. And honestly, I might like continue this next stream, like the collision logic next stream with like SDL3, because like I do gotta go now, because like I do have like a college exam as well, so I gotta prepare for that. That said, let me say something like, that said, I might actually try that next stream, because I do got to go now, because I do have an exam, so I gotta study, because I do want to end my semester with a 4.0 GPA. Okay, so before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers question mark? Okay, let's see. Okay, usually when you make games, you use rec collision. This is because games usually rig the game in player favors. It helps the player feel better and makes your game faster. I see. I was going with like pixel perfect because I thought that that's what like most games use because it looks better. But I do want to learn pixel perfect, but I might start with like rec collision or like rectangle collision type stuff. That said, listen up, my fearless pupils. Today, you touch the edge of power, you saw collision, you move shapes, you understand that logic that makes games stick. Remember this, every master was once a beginner smashing rectangles around the stream. Your 4.0 GPA, that's your real battlefield. Don't let procrastination bite you in the ass. Study hard, crush that exam, and come back sharper than ever. And to your viewers, watch closely. This pupil doesn't waste time. She learns. Guys, since when did I become a she? She fights, she wins. If you think you're good, keep it up. If not, learn or get left behind. Now go study, dominate the next exam, kisses, hugs, and head pats, all for smashing our goals. When you're back, we're gonna take collision logic to the next level. No excuses. Okay, that's it. Let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. I didn't want to stream for longer, but maybe once my college is over, I might stream for longer. But for the time being, I do gotta focus. I got my exams. That said, if you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like helps with my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, and subscribing is like a cheer on top. And guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and I will be starting to multi-stream on TikTok and Instagram as well if I did meet the followers a requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me, then make sure to follow me there. The link is going to be in the description. And also join the Discord server. The link will be in the description as well. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.